Hey guys, so I was watching a video today that made me want to make this post like right now before I even brush my hair, put on any makeup. But anyway, um, I wanted to talk to y'all about how I guess there's certain groups of people that feel that they need to degrade and really harass the police. And so there's a bunch of videos out that have gone viral where people get pulled over and, you know, police make mistakes. Sometimes they pull you over. And I know I've been pulled over um, in the past, and so has my husband, for speeding when we actually were not speeding. My husband actually contested it and he was able to win that. But most people don't have the time to do all of that. But anyway, police sometimes do make mistakes. They pull you over, um, thinking one thing when actually it's another. But these viral videos showing like people cussing and using all kinds of profanity and really degrading words to the police when they get pulled over. And they're videoing it, and they sometimes have kids with them in the car. And I know that I've had a friend who got pulled over once for speeding, and the officer was really rude. And so her son, who's a special needs child, exceptional child, he got upset because he's like, no one talks to my mom like that. And she had to kind of calm him down. And so, anyway, it got me to thinking that that is something that we don't think about preparing our children for, especially if they're going to be driving, is to teach them how to be respectful no matter what the circumstances are. Because remember, in the exceptional world, everything's black and white, there's no gray, right? And so, especially in the autism world. And so imagine being a child or a young adult or a youth, 16 and older, being pulled over, and you're wondering why, and in your mind you're thinking, I didn't do anything wrong. I wasn't speeding. What was it that happened? And the police officer coming to the door, and they don't know that the child is exceptional, and they may get an attitude. They may, not get a response from the child. And so it's so important. There is an autism card that you can get for your child through the not Montgomery, but through the police department. We live in Montgomery. We used to live in Montgomery. Anyway, through the police department, and you can have that so that and register and everything. So that way your child can show it to the police officer when they get pulled over. And hopefully that police officer has had some kind of training when in regards to, exceptional people with, it could be any age. I mean, just because we are exceptional parents, that doesn't mean that our children stop growing. Our children are going to get older. They're going to become an adult eventually. And so it's so important to teach your child what to do. So what do you tell them to do? Well, with our children, we always told them, make sure that your hands are visible. Make sure that they know that you're not carrying a weapon or something, because the police are just as afraid as you are as you are of them. It's kind of like snakes in the wood, Snakes are just as afraid of you as you are of them. And if they feel threatened, they're going to strike. Well, the same thing with a policeman. I mean, if you are a police officer, you have no idea who you're pulling over. You have no idea if they are carrying a weapon. So their lives are, just as, important, right, as yours. So they have a family to go home to. So anyway, they approach the car. If your hands are on the steering wheel, they know right away, that you're not a threat. And of course, they're going to probably tell you why they pulled you over or ask you, do you know why? And they're going to ask for your ID, registration, insurance, those types of things, just to make sure that you are who you say you are. And so just follow the directions, and just do what they say. Now, one thing that I have taught my children is if you feel threatened, you need to make sure that you are, get either call backup, call 911, okay, and explain to them the situation, okay. I've heard of instances where people pretend to be a police officer, and so you have to protect your child against that as well. A police officer will understand, especially if you're a woman. They will understand that if you feel threatened, that you want to go somewhere lit, if you're like in a country road or something where it's dark, and they'll escort you to a safer place. If they are a true police officer, they will do that. So, so yeah, so anytime you feel threatened at all, you can call 911 and explain to them the situation, and they will call backup. And so then you'll know that they are a police officer if you are in question. A police officer is going to be in, usually in uniform. You got to explain to them what that might look like. There are such things as undercover police. So the police car may not look like a traditional police car with the lights on top and all of that. So you got to explain that to them. Explain to your children that it's important to use very polite words like yes, sir, or no, ma'am, yes, ma'am. Make sure they're very polite and respectful, okay? And above all else, just try to remain calm because it happens. We all have gone through it. Most of us have gotten pulled over for something. It may have been legit, may not have been legit. And so it's important just to try to remain calm and to just try to follow the directions that the police officer has given you. There should be no reason they ask you to get out of the car. And again, if they do, you need to just be calm and try to follow the directions that the police officer has given you. This is so hard, y'all, because if your child, you don't know how your child's going to react if they ever get pulled over. You just don't know. And I have seen some cases where the police just didn't understand that they were dealing with a special needs or exceptional, because sometimes people under the influence might act like exceptional. And so they may not have the training to know, well, is this person under the influence of alcohol or some illegal drug, or are they exceptional? Like if you have someone who has slurred speech, you might think they are drunk. Or if you have someone with maybe their balance is off. I mean, there's a lot of exceptional people that maybe they have some kind of balance issue, or they can't walk a straight line normally, not without any influence, but normally. Or maybe they're not as verbal if they have autism and they need a little time to process, then the police officer might see that as though they're not cooperating. And so anyway, it's a very dangerous situation. So as a mom of older kids with exceptionality, pretty much adult kids, I just wanted to kind of put that bug in your ear and start now talking about scenarios. And I try to do scenarios with my kids, and then as they're learning to drive, put them in certain scenarios. Say, what would you do if you have a police officer right now behind you with lights? Where would you pull over? What would you do? Because that's another thing. It's like if they don't pull over quickly enough, that they might be resisting arrest, or not arrest, but they might, say that they're trying to flee the the scene, or they're not, cooperating again. And so that's when, again, call 911, say, listen, I'm being pulled over. I have a police officer behind me, but I'm trying to find a safe place to go. Of course, if you're driving, you're not supposed to be on the phone, so there's a double jeopardy. But anyway, I don't know. There's not really an easy answer. And again, in a world of black and white, there's so many grays. And so I think it's just important to let them know ahead of time of things that might occur. You might get pulled over, and if you do, it's not the end of the world. Just try to, remain calm and do what the officer says. If you don't feel safe, if there's something going on that doesn't feel right to you, call 911. And they'll be able to help you, and tell them right away you have autism. And that should help as well. But yeah, it's a crazy world we live in. And I know that there are friends of mine and groups of people out there who may not feel safe for whatever reason when they get pulled over. And it's, I understand and I empathize for them, because they have no idea how I feel with my exceptional children. No one can tell me, well, no one would ever hurt your child. Well, you don't know unless you're there, you're, in that situation. There are some, rotten apples in the bunch at times. And there's human nature. Like I said, there might be a situation that your child might act differently than they would at home. So this post is basically a public service announcement to open your eyes to the realities of people with exceptional children and the fact that, we don't live in a perfect world. So just try to help them by giving them some tools that they can use and basically do some scripting and help them along the path of self-reliance, which is, one of those biggest things is being able to drive. So anyway, I know this is a longer post than usual, but I felt really passionate about making sure that I spread this message to those of you who are not there yet. And it doesn't just deal with exceptional kids, any kid. Just if you're a parent of a child who has not gotten their license yet, go ahead and prepare them right now for that inevitable moment where they might get pulled over. All right, those are my thoughts for today. As always, good luck on your journey, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye.